My sister called me paranoid for wanting privacy, so she broke into my apartment to prove it. Now she has a restraining order. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. I never thought I'd be writing this, but I need to get this off my chest before I lose my mind. My name is Michael, I'm 32, and apparently, according to my sister Jennifer, 30F, wanting basic privacy makes me paranoid and unfit to live alone. Let me give you some background. I've always been a private person. Not secretive, not hiding anything nefarious. I just value my personal space and boundaries. I work as a software developer, have a small but close group of friends, and generally keep to myself. After years of saving, I finally bought my own condo 6 months ago. It's nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom place in a decent neighborhood, but it's mine. Jennifer, on the other hand, is what you'd call an open book. She posts every meal on Instagram, shares her location constantly, and believes that family should have no boundaries whatsoever. When we were kids, she'd barge into my room without knocking, go through my things, and then act wounded when I got upset. Our parents always brushed it off as sibling stuff, but it never sat right with me. The current drama started 3 weeks ago at our parents' house. We were having Sunday dinner, Mom's tradition that I attend monthly despite Jennifer being there weekly. The conversation turned to my new place, and Mom asked why I hadn't given anyone a spare key yet. I just haven't gotten around to it, I said, which was partially true. The fuller truth was that I enjoyed knowing my space was completely mine. Jennifer snorted. He's probably paranoid someone will come in and see his secret life. What secret life? I asked, genuinely confused. Oh, come on, Michael. You barely let anyone visit. You have a security system. You even have those blackout curtains. It's weird. Having curtains is weird. Everything about how you live is weird. Normal people don't act like they're in witness protection. I tried to explain that I simply valued privacy, that the security system came with a condo, and that the blackout curtains were for better sleep since I sometimes work late. But Jennifer had already decided on her narrative. This is exactly what I mean, she said, pointing her fork at me. You're so paranoid about everything. It's not healthy. Honestly, someone this paranoid probably shouldn't be living alone. You need people around to keep you grounded. My parents, as usual, tried to deflect with comments about dessert, but the damage was done. Jennifer had that look in her eyes, the same one she'd get before launching into one of her crusades to fix me. Over the next few days, she bombarded me with articles about the dangers of isolation and how secretive behavior was a sign of mental health issues. I ignored most of them, but then she started calling our extended family. My cousin Jessica texted me asking if I was okay because Jennifer had told her I was showing signs of paranoid behavior. I tried talking to Jennifer directly. I called her and calmly explained that privacy wasn't paranoia, that millions of people live alone happily, and that my lifestyle choices weren't hurting anyone. But they're hurting you, she insisted. You're isolating yourself. It's not normal to be this protective of your space. What are you hiding? Nothing. I just like having my own space where I can relax without. Without what? Without family. See, that's the problem. You think of us as intrusions instead of support. The conversation went nowhere. She decided I had a problem, and nothing I said would change her mind. But I figured it would blow over like her other fixations. I should have known better. Last week, things escalated. I came home from work to find my front door unlocked. My heart raced as I pushed it open, hand hovering over my phone to call 911. But instead of a burglar, I found Jennifer sitting on my couch, scrolling through her phone. What the hell are you doing here? I demanded. She looked up casually. Oh hey. I told Mom I was worried about you, so she gave me the spare key she had made when you bought the place. I felt my blood pressure spike. She had a spare key made, without telling me, for emergencies. And this is kind of an emergency. You're spiraling, Michael. The only emergency here is you breaking into my home. It's not breaking in if I have a key. And see. This is exactly what I mean. A normal person would be happy to see family. You're acting like I'm some criminal. I stood there, dumbfounded by her logic. She'd violated my privacy to prove I was too concerned about privacy. The circular reasoning was making my head spin. Get out, I said firmly. And leave the key. She stood up slowly, shaking her head. This reaction just proves my point. You're completely paranoid. I'm trying to help you, and you're treating me like an enemy. You entered my home without permission. That's literally a crime. Wow. You'd actually threaten your own sister with legal action? You really do need help. She left the key on my coffee table and walked out, but not before taking photos of my apartment for evidence of my deteriorating mental state, as she put it. That night, I changed my locks. I also had a serious conversation with my parents about boundaries and the spare key situation. Mom apologized, saying she'd only wanted to have one for emergencies and hadn't meant for Jennifer to use it. But I could tell they were both now concerned about my paranoia, thanks to Jennifer's campaign. The thing is, I'm not paranoid. I'm a functioning adult who pays his bills, maintains relationships, and contributes to society. I just also happen to believe that my home is my sanctuary and that I have a right to control who enters it and when. But Jennifer has spun this basic boundary into evidence of mental illness, and I'm watching my family buy into it. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to go no contact with Jennifer, but I know that would just fuel her narrative about my isolation. Part of me wants to invite everyone over constantly to prove I'm fine, but that feels like letting her win by forcing me to live differently. Has anyone dealt with family members who pathologize normal boundaries? How do you maintain your privacy without feeding into their narrative? Because right now, I feel like I'm trapped in a lose-lose situation. Update 1, 2 weeks later. I wanted to thank everyone who responded to my original post. Your validation that wanting privacy is normal helped me feel less crazy. Unfortunately, things have gotten worse. After changing my locks, I thought I'd secured my boundaries. I was wrong. Jennifer apparently saw it as a challenge. It started small. She began showing up unannounced, ringing my doorbell repeatedly. When I wouldn't answer, I could see her through my doorbell camera. She'd stand there for 20 to 30 minutes, occasionally calling out that she just wanted to talk and was worried about me. I tried to maintain normal contact through text to show I wasn't isolating, but every conversation became an interrogation. What are you doing right now? Why aren't you answering your door? Who are you with? Send me a photo to prove you're okay. When I refused to comply with these demands, she'd forward the conversations to our parents as evidence of my declining mental state. Then came last Thursday. I was working from home when I heard something at my door. I checked the camera and saw Jennifer kneeling by my lock with something in her hand. I immediately opened the door. Are you trying to pick my lock? She jumped up, slipping whatever tool she had into her purse. I was just checking if you changed them. You did. That's concerning, Michael. Of course I changed them. You entered my home without permission. Because I'm worried about you. Normal people don't change their locks to keep family out. What's next, Michael? Are you going to move without telling us? Change your name. Her voice had risen to near shouting, and I noticed my neighbor Patricia peeking out her door. Great. Now my family drama was becoming building gossip. Jennifer, you need to leave. Now. Or what? You'll call the police on your own sister? Go ahead. Tell them how paranoid you are that you won't even let family check on you. I did consider calling the police, but I knew how that would play out. Jennifer would spin it as proof of my paranoia, and the family drama would explode. Instead, I went inside and locked the door, listening to her continue her tirade in the hallway for another 10 minutes before finally leaving. That evening, my phone exploded with messages. Jennifer had group texted our entire extended family, claiming I'd aggressively confronted her when she'd simply been checking on my well-being. According to her version, I was becoming increasingly hostile and paranoid, and she was deeply concerned for my mental health. My Aunt Carol called, asking if I was having a breakdown. My cousin Brian texted asking if I needed to talk to someone. Even my generally level-headed Uncle Richard reached out, suggesting maybe I should ease up on the security stuff, because it was worrying people. I spent hours that night crafting a response to the family group text, laying out the facts. Jennifer had entered my home without permission, I'd simply changed my locks in response, and she'd been harassing me for weeks. But every draft sounded defensive, which I knew would only support her narrative. My friend David, who's been watching this unfold, suggested I document everything. So I've started keeping a log, every unannounced visit, every invasive text, every attempted entry. I've saved the doorbell camera footage of her attempting to pick my lock. But here's the twisted part. The more I document her behavior, the more paranoid I feel. I'm constantly checking my cameras, screenshotting conversations, building a file of evidence. I'm becoming the paranoid person she's accusing me of being, all in an effort to protect myself from her invasions. Yesterday, she escalated again. I came home to find a note slipped under my door. Michael, I've scheduled an intervention for you this Saturday at Mom and Dad's. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. We all love you and want to help. Jennifer. An intervention. For wanting privacy. I called my parents immediately. Dad sounded tired. Son, maybe just hear her out? She's only trying to help. Help with what? I don't have a problem. Well, you have been acting differently since you got your own place. Because I'm enjoying having my own space. That's normal. Mom got on the phone. Honey, would it kill you to just give Jennifer a key? For emergencies. It would make her feel better. It would make her feel like she won. And then what? She comes and goes as she pleases? Goes through my things? No. She wouldn't do that. Mom, she literally already did that. The conversation ended with them asking me to, at least consider, attending the intervention. The fact that they're even entertaining this insanity shows how effective Jennifer's campaign has been. I won't be attending any intervention. I'm not paranoid. I'm not mentally ill. I just want to live my life without my sister treating my apartment like an extension of her domain. But I'm starting to realize that in her mind, and increasingly in my family's mind, those boundaries themselves are the problem. I'm at a loss. Every action I take to protect my privacy is used as evidence against me. It's like being accused of witchcraft. The more you deny it, the guiltier you look. Update 2, 3 weeks later. The intervention came and went without me. According to my cousin Jessica, who attended and felt guilty enough to fill me in, it was quite the production. Jennifer had prepared a PowerPoint presentation titled Recognizing the Signs, When Privacy Becomes Paranoia. I wish I was making this up. Apparently, she'd been documenting my concerning behaviors for months. Refusing to share my Netflix password, actually, I just told her to get her own account. Having packages delivered to an Amazon locker instead of my home, I work during delivery hours. Not posting on social media regularly, I post maybe once a month. Using a VPN, basic internet security. Having a password on my phone, doesn't everyone? The family's response was mixed. Some bought into it completely, others were skeptical but concerned, and a few, including Jessica, thought Jennifer had gone too far. But the damage was done. I was now officially the troubled family member. I decided to skip family dinners for a while. I needed space to think, and honestly, I couldn't face sitting across from Jennifer while she psychoanalyzed my eating habits. This, of course, was interpreted as further isolation. But Jennifer wasn't done. If I wouldn't come to family gatherings, she'd bring the interventions to me. Last Monday, I was leaving for work when I found Jennifer in the parking garage with 2 people I didn't recognize. Michael, these are my friends Dr. Sarah and Mark. Sarah's a therapist, and Mark is a life coach. They've agreed to do an informal assessment. I stood there, keys in hand, genuinely speechless. She'd ambushed me with mental health professionals. In my parking garage. At 7:30 a.m. Jennifer, this is insane. I'm going to work. See, she said to her companions. Avoidance. Classic defensive behavior. Dr. Sarah, to her credit, looked uncomfortable. Jennifer, I told you this isn't how interventions work. The person has to be willing. He'll never be willing. That's part of the problem. I used their discussion to get in my car and leave, but the encounter rattled me. How far was she willing to take this? The answer came on Thursday. I received an email from my company's HR department asking me to come in for a meeting. Someone had called them expressing concerns about my mental state and suggesting I might be a danger to myself or others. I sat in that HR office, explaining to skeptical professionals that my sister was harassing me because I wouldn't give her a key to my apartment. It sounded absurd even to me. Thankfully, my work performance spoke for itself, and my manager vouched for my stability, but the fact that Jennifer had tried to jeopardize my career crossed a line I couldn't ignore. That night, I called a lawyer. Yes, it felt extreme. Yes, it would fuel Jennifer's narrative. But I needed to protect myself. The lawyer, Elizabeth, was surprisingly understanding. You'd be amazed how often we see this. Family members who can't respect boundaries and escalate when challenged. You have grounds for a restraining order based on the harassment and the attempted lockpicking alone. I wasn't ready for that nuclear option, but I had her draft a cease and desist letter. It formally requested that Jennifer stop coming to my residence uninvited, attempting to gain entry to my residence, contacting my employer, spreading false information about my mental health, harassing me in any form. I sent it via certified mail and braced for impact. Jennifer received it on Saturday. By Saturday evening, my phone was a battlefield. Texts, calls, voicemails, Not just from Jennifer, but from what felt like every family member in existence. You sent your sister a legal threat? This is proof you need help. How could you do this to family? Jennifer is crying her eyes out. The most painful message was from my dad. I don't recognize you anymore, son. Maybe Jennifer has a point. Only Jessica and, surprisingly, Uncle Richard reached out with support. Richard texted, "Good for you. Jennifer's always been a bulldozer. Stand your ground." Sunday brought a new development. Jennifer posted on Facebook, of course she did, about how her mentally ill brother had sent her a restraining order. It wasn't because she cared too much. The post went semi-viral in our extended network, with friends and distant relatives chiming in with their opinions on mental health, family obligations, and the tragedy of our situation. But here's the thing. Since sending that letter, I felt more peace than I have in months. My doorbell hasn't rung incessantly. My phone has been quieter. I blocked the most aggressive family members. My home feels like my home again. Yet I can't shake the feeling that this is just the calm before the storm. Jennifer doesn't give up easily, and being legally told to back off has probably only strengthened her conviction that I'm unwell. I'm prepared for her to escalate, though I can't imagine how. I've started seeing a therapist, not because I think I'm paranoid, but because I need help processing how my entire family has been manipulated into questioning my sanity for wanting basic boundaries. The therapist, Dr. Thomas, assured me that my desire for privacy is completely normal and that Jennifer's behavior is the concerning one. She's violating your boundaries to prove you shouldn't have them, he said. It's a form of gaslighting, whether she realizes it or not. Having professional validation helps, but it doesn't repair the family relationships that have been damaged. I'm not sure those can be repaired as long as Jennifer maintains her crusade. For now, I'm focusing on protecting my peace. My home is my sanctuary again. I can come and go without checking for ambushes. I can exist without constant interrogation. It's sad that it took legal action to achieve this, but I don't regret it. Though I do wonder, in Jennifer's mind, does sending a cease and desist letter to stop harassment prove I'm paranoid? Or does it prove I'm sane enough to establish and enforce boundaries? I guess it depends on which side of the door you're standing on. Final update, 2 months later. I debated whether to write this final update, but I feel like I owe closure to everyone who's followed this bizarre journey. Plus, writing these posts has been oddly therapeutic, probably the only good thing to come from this whole mess. After 2 months of relative peace following the cease and desist letter, I foolishly thought Jennifer had finally accepted my boundaries. I should have known better. She wasn't retreating, she was regrouping. It started with a call from my landlord 3 weeks ago. Someone had contacted them expressing concerns about my mental stability and suggesting I might be a danger to other residents. They'd cited the security cameras I'd installed, which were only inside my unit and completely legal, my antisocial behavior, and claimed I'd been acting erratically. Fortunately, my landlord knew me well enough to be skeptical, but he was obligated to follow up. I had to provide the cease and desist documentation and explain the situation. He was understanding, but the fact that Jennifer was now trying to jeopardize my housing sent chills down my spine. Then came the wellness checks. 3 times in 2 weeks, police showed up at my door because someone had called claiming I was in crisis. Each time, I had to explain the situation, show them I was fine, and watch them leave with that mixture of sympathy and annoyance that comes from dealing with family drama. The third officer gave me honest advice: file a restraining order. This is harassment, and it's escalating. But the final straw came last Tuesday. I'd taken a sick day from work, just a stomach bug, nothing serious. Around 2 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the camera and my heart sank. Jennifer was there with our parents, Aunt Carol, Uncle Richard, and 3 people I didn't recognize. I answered through the intercom. "You're violating the cease and desist. Please leave." My mother's voice cracked through the speaker. "Michael, honey, please. We just want to talk. Jennifer says you're not well, and now with the lawyers and the police, we're scared." "I'm fine, Mom. The only issue is Jennifer's harassment." "Son," my dad's voice was firm. "Open the door. Enough is enough." I stood there, hand on the deadbolt, torn between a lifetime of respecting my parents and the knowledge that opening that door would undo months of boundary setting. "I'll meet you and Dad for coffee tomorrow. Just the 3 of us. But this group ambush needs to stop." "He's isolating me," Jennifer's voice screeched. "Classic manipulation. He's trying to turn you against me." That's when one of the strangers spoke up. "Mr. Thompson, I'm Dr. Brian Harrison from the Mobile Crisis Unit. We're here to do an evaluation." My blood ran cold. She'd actually called a psychiatric crisis team. On what grounds? I asked through the intercom. We've received reports of paranoid behavior, isolation, and potential danger to yourself. If you could just open the door. No. I'm not in crisis. I'm not a danger to anyone. This is harassment for my sister because I won't give her unlimited access to my home. What followed was a tense 45-minute standoff. The crisis team couldn't force entry without evidence of immediate danger, which they didn't have. Uncle Richard eventually spoke up, telling the team this was a family dispute, not a mental health crisis. The team left with a warning about misusing emergency services. My parents left too, but not before my mother slipped a note under my door. "We love you. Please don't shut us out." That night, I made two decisions. First, I would file for a restraining order. Second, I would move. The restraining order was granted last Monday. The judge reviewed the evidence, the attempted lockpicking, the harassment, the false reports to my employer and landlord, the misuse of emergency services, and didn't hesitate. Jennifer is now legally required to stay 500 feet away from me, my home, and my workplace. She cannot contact me directly or through third parties. The courtroom was packed with family. Jennifer cried. My mother cried. My father looked like he'd aged 10 years. But what struck me most was Jennifer's final outburst as the judge made his ruling. "This is exactly what I was trying to prevent. He's sick, and you're enabling him. He's going to end up completely alone, and it'll be your fault." Even facing legal consequences, she couldn't see that my desire for privacy was valid. In her mind, I'm still the paranoid brother who needs saving. The family fallout has been swift and brutal. I'm persona non grata at family functions. Most relatives have chosen Jennifer's side, unable to reconcile the legal action with their image of family loyalty. My parents are caught in the middle, loving both their children but feeling like they have to choose. Only a handful of family members have reached out with support. Jessica wrote, "I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Jennifer's always been controlling, but this was next level." Uncle Richard called, "You did what you had to do. Sometimes family is who respects you, not who shares your DNA." As for moving, I found a new place in a different part of the city. Not because I'm running, but because I need a fresh start. A place without memories of Jennifer sitting on my couch uninvited or standing at my door for hours. I'm not telling family my new address. My parents have my phone number. That's enough for now. The irony isn't lost on me. In trying to prove I was paranoid and isolating myself, Jennifer created a situation where I had to become hypervigilant and ultimately did isolate from the family. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of the worst kind. But here's what I've learned. Privacy isn't paranoia. Boundaries aren't barriers to love. They're necessary for healthy relationships. And sometimes, protecting your peace means making hard choices that others won't understand. My therapist asked me last week if I regret how things turned out. I thought about it for a long time. Do I regret losing most of my family? Yes. Do I regret the pain this has caused my parents? Absolutely. But do I regret standing up for my right to have boundaries? Not for a second. I'm building a new life now. I have my close friends, my work, my new place, and most importantly, my peace of mind. My home is once again my sanctuary. No unexpected visits, no surveillance, no one questioning my every choice. Maybe someday Jennifer will understand that her help was harmful. Maybe the family will see that wanting privacy doesn't mean you're hiding something. Or maybe they won't. I've made peace with both possibilities. To everyone who's followed this story and offered support, thank you. To those dealing with similar boundary-crossing family members, stand firm. Your needs are valid, your privacy matters, and you deserve to feel safe in your own home. This is my final update. I'm closing this chapter and moving forward. And for the first time in months, I'm actually looking forward to going home tonight, knowing that when I lock my door, it stays locked. Sometimes the most paranoid thing you can do is refuse to be paranoid at all. Sometimes the healthiest choice is the one that looks crazy to everyone else. And sometimes, the best family is the one you choose, the people who respect your boundaries rather than trying to bulldoze through them. Take care, everyone. And remember, no is a complete sentence, and a locked door is a valid choice. If you or someone you know is dealing with family members who refuse to respect boundaries, please know that your feelings are valid. Seek support from friends, therapists, or support groups. You deserve to feel safe and respected in your own space.